Destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
That also matter. When you're talking about net ranking, you're talking about KenPom. And now they get ready for that test tomorrow night against Boise State. The Broncos come to town, 8:30 tip-off. You know the pit is going to be popping. The place is going to be lit. And this is, turned into a little bit of something. Versus Boise State, their head coach, Leon Rice. And also looking forward talking with Kenny Thomas about that this morning. He's going to join us in studio 9 to 9:30, kicking it with KT. You're going to try Jeff again?
Yeah, does that sound a little better to you?
Yes, it does.
All right, then. Yeah. Where did you expect that the Lobos would be? Because I was looking at it, as Jerry tells us all the time, nothing's ever in a vacuum, right? And so what did everybody else do? Where were they? And I was thinking right about 20. 19's a pretty good number, man. There's a lot of respect around the country for what's going on in the pit.
There absolutely is. And this is a perfect example of this will get you the headlines. This will get you on the bottom line. But this is far from anything that's going to get you in the tournament. And the month of January has been about holding serve at home. The schedule for the Lobos was front-loaded with those home games. And then they'll get the opportunity to climb that real ladder. They handle their business again at home. And that is that seeding line that everyone would be looking at. Because the seeding line does not equal your AP ranking.
Yeah, I was looking at Joe Lunardi yesterday, which was really an interesting one. And did you see by any chance? And look, they never get the matchups right. Did you look at his bracketology at all? Did you see who the Lobos were matched up in his first round game by any chance?
Who did he have a matched up against?
St. John's.
Not too shabby.
St. John's. It would be Rick Pitino against Richard Pitino. I think they would both hate that. But he's got New Mexico as a 9, St. John's as an 8, playing in Charlotte in a West game that would feed into Los Angeles. In his latest bracket, he's got 5 Mountain West teams in there. But I just looked at it and laughed. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, is that something the committee would do? They might, right?
Yeah, you never know. That would be an awesome first-round story. Now, if you're playing in Charlotte and projected number 1 seed is North Carolina in the second round, have fun with that.
Yeah, but, and that's always the problem, right? JJ, you and I have this conversation annually. And so we say, well, what's the ceiling for the Lobos as far as a seed? How high can they get? And we talk about, well, I mean, they could get up to a 7 or I don't know, man. All the time we talk about I'd rather be an 11, right? I'd rather be and I understand you keep winning, but the 11 plays the 6 and then they get the 3. And everybody's a good team. Everybody's a champion or a really good team when you get to the NCAA tournament. So there's no avoiding anyone, right? San Diego State, I remember last year in the Sweet 16, they were a 5 seed, right, JJ? And they had to play Alabama, weren't they the top overall seed in the tournament last year? And it was like, well, all right, nice little run. You got to go through people. But that 8-9 seed is a tough one because you get a really tough game in that first round, and then boom, if you get through, you get number 1, and it's tough to get to that second weekend. That's why it's so hard to get there, right? You start looking at it. There is no easy path, and I'm not telling you lose a game here or lose a game there. I'd love to see them get up to a 6 seed. And who'd we ask yesterday? Who were we talking to about seeding relatively recently, and how high could they get? And what was it? 5-6 was kind of the ceiling.
Yeah, we were throwing that back and forth yesterday of what could the Lobos do if they win their games
That's
at
what it
home,
was.
and then you got San Diego State, Nevada, Utah State, Boise State on the road the rest of the way. Those are how you're going to climb the seeding ladder. Your AP ranking is one thing, but climbing that seeding ladder when it comes to your NCAA tournament resume, they're the games that the Lobos are going to have to get a couple of those. And if you look at, we'll see Jerry's new bracket later today. This is Tuesday. He puts them out Tuesday and Friday. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports. Lenardi's latest one, I think you look at where he had Utah State as 6th. And so you say, all right, that's right now the projected Mountain West winner. And so that could be where you see the ceiling of the Mountain West winner is that 6-5 seed.
And he's got Colorado State in as a 6th seed, Utah State in as a 6th seed, San Diego State as a 6th seed. And you're going, wait a minute. We beat everyone but one of those guys. Why is everybody ahead of us? And that's why I think you've got a bunch of stuff to play out. Boise State's one of the last 4 in his bracket. But again, dude, it's what's today? The 30th of January. We got a whole month plus to play. There's going to be games. Everybody's going to beat each other up, and you're going to. But this is what you do, and you watch it, and it's kind of fun. Back at it again tomorrow. Today's Tuesday, right? Tomorrow in the pit against Boise State, and another big one. And JJ, this is one of those where I always look at it, right, and who needs it more? Who needs this game more tomorrow night? I mean, it's probably Boise State, right?
Boise State coming off a home loss to Utah State would need it more, but the Lobos can't lose home games. Like they can't with their resume. Like they have to feast at home and then go get those games on the road. And I saw an interesting stat last night. It doesn't necessarily apply perfectly to the game that we're going to see in the pit, but it was kind of just highlighted what it's been like trying to win on the road this season. And it was focusing on AP top 10 teams, but if you can project it out to what we've seen in the conferences. So AP top 10 teams on the road versus unranked opponents are 22 and 27 this season. So it's below 500. The last 2 years, it's 70+% winning percentage. So it just kind of highlights the year it is for teams on the road where you got to take care of your home games because there's not a lot of games you're winning on the road anymore.
No, I saw it as a record number of losses by ranked teams on the road to non-ranked teams it throughout America. It's not just here, and it's already hit the record number, and we still have a month plus to go in the season, which is pretty crazy. And it's not just in this league, man. It's every league, and it's cliche and it's trite and it's all those things for a reason because it proves out to be true. It is hard to go on the road and win games everywhere, and it's proven. And that's why next month is going to be so interesting for the Lobos. All right, let's open it up for you. Whenever when you want to jump in on this, 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. That is the Sports Animal phone line. It is also our text line. You can send emails. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. We are visually available for you on Facebook, the OD and the AM, Comcast Channel 26. Adrian's producing on ProView Networks. Guest list today, and JJ, I think you're going to enjoy this. We talked so much last night at dinner and just had some great conversations. Former Super Bowl champion, former 49er great, All-Pro, Merton Hanks is going to be with us. Merton played with the 49ers, had just a tremendous career, played for Iowa, beat the Aztecs in the 86 Holiday Bowl back in the day on a last-second field goal. But he is now Senior Associate Commissioner of the Pac-12 and had a terrific career where he was Pro Bowler, and he was an All-Pro. He was a Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 29 for the San Francisco 49ers when they beat the Chargers. He 4 times in the Pro Bowl. And we're going to talk to him, JJ, about the 49ers and this team specifically and get into some of the stuff about the game overall. And I think you'll enjoy talking to Merton because a guy with that knowledge. It was just, sometimes at dinner you just sit down and you listen a lot and you learn a lot. It was one of those last night, JJ.
Absolutely. I'm really fascinated. I talked to anyone too, watching the dynamics between these two teams, the quote unquote game manager leading the San Francisco 49ers and having that debate with Brock Purdy versus what we're seeing with Patrick Mahomes, especially someone that's been there, done that. won a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, look, when we get back, and I want to get into this, Brock Purdy is not Patrick Mahomes. Okay, got it. And I was listening to you guys in the last hour yesterday, and this is, it's such the thing, man. And this is the people who get frustrated on the other side, throw up their hands. Fine, if you don't have Patrick Mahomes, well, then you don't have that guy. And that's really kind of where it is. I want to get into what Brock Purdy is, and I want to get into what Brock Purdy is not. And the stereotype, the label that has been placed on, how do you get rid of a label, Mr. Irrelevant? Because, JJ, I think that's the biggest reason people are just not giving the man his due. Well, I mean, he's Mr. Irrelevant. And as you said yesterday when you were on with DC, they don't miss very often. Cool, you're right. But they do miss every once in a while. Every once in a while, a guy slips through. And maybe this is it. And I'm going to tell you why. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the minutes. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, brah. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
look, it's Dwight Goodman.
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
That's the opening drive, Jeff Sibbieta, JJ Buck, DC. So, JJ, I listened to some of the stuff on Brock Purdy, and there's people who just don't want to. The people who are telling you he was good, I told you he's great. I told you. I don't know if he's great. I think he's pretty doggone good, dude. And every time I listen to the arguments, what he isn't. Well, he's not athletic. He doesn't have a strong arm. And I keep going back to, I don't know, man. You know what he is? He wins. The one postseason game he lost is when he couldn't throw a football, when they had a Christian McCaffrey come in there and play quarterback. That was the one playoff game he lost. I just look at what he does, and I think it's remarkable. And in fact, his numbers, I don't know. What did Herm Edwards say? What's the reason we play the game? I forget. What is it?
You play to win the game.
Yeah, right. And he's pretty good at that, isn't he?
Not too bad.
So why do you think he's not getting his due?
Now, this one is really fascinating because we're going to be critical of quarterbacks in the postseason. But it feels like a lot of people are going out of their way to prove that, you can't keep doing this with Brock Purdy. He played a bad first half. Okay. But then they came back and won the game in the second half. And sometimes it's fine to be a good quarterback on a good team. You don't always have to be a great quarterback. Now, if we want to talk about Brock Purdy and the way he played in the playoffs and then say, hey, you do that in the Super Bowl, you might not get the chance to come back. To me, that's a different conversation than just not giving Brock Purdy his due for the guy that in the last 2 games, 10 second half drives, has 8 scoring drives of those 10.
So I'm going to make this very clear. I am not saying that Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than these quarterbacks that I'm going to talk about, okay? But if the point is, well, he played a bad first half, well, look at Lamar Jackson's second half. Look at Patrick Mahomes' second half. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Dak Prescott. How come we don't have that conversation at all about the guys who are not still playing? All I hear is everything is you can't be a great quarterback if you can't get to here, if you can't beat Patrick Mahomes, if you can't get past the championship game, except for Brock Purdy because, well, they're winning in spite of him. And the fact is they're not winning in spite of him. And I need another preface on this. You know how I feel about the Niners. I'm not a Niner fan at all, right? It kills me in some respects to just go, wow, they hit. But I watch a guy who is making the right throws when it matters, who is making the right reads when it matters, who is escaping with his legs and making plays out of the pocket. And yet all I hear is, yeah, but. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, at what point did Tony Romo get accepted as an undrafted guy that, all right, well, he's going to be the Cowboys' future, right? At some point, what is it that this guy, I don't know, man. Tell me, because you see the comparisons? All these other guys, if they were doing what Brock Purdy did, if Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott did what this guy has done, win and get his team to the Super Bowl, we'd be having such a different conversation on a national narrative about that quarterback than we are about this one.
Absolutely. For Brock Purdy, there's a couple things. People just think it is plug and play in San Francisco because Jimmy Garoppolo took that team to a Super Bowl. And people have their feelings on Jimmy Garoppolo. So those feelings on Jimmy Garoppolo then are also placed on Brock Purdy, where he doesn't get respect for being a good quarterback. And I think that San Francisco is a good football team, but if you've watched them in the playoffs, they're not that juggernaut team that they were at times in the regular season. Like, they don't have the best defense on the field. I don't think offensively it's like, oh my gosh, how are you going to stop all this stuff? And I think what we've seen is actually Brock Purdy have to be a playmaker where he's not just a caretaker. And so I think there's so many factors when we discuss the 49ers that they've been good for an extended period of time. They've won with what people think is a bad quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. So Brock Purdy then himself can't overcome that in just the public narrative of quarterback rankings and discussion.
Fair. I'm going to ask you this. As dominant as teams tend to look in the regular season, I would argue that in playoff runs, JJ, most teams, not all, there's some that have dominant runs, but if you go look at the Chiefs, almost anyone, their run through the playoffs is not dominant. There's always a game that they had to get a ball bounced off a face mask to win or whatever, right? I'm looking at numbers, dude. You know what he is as a starter? 17-4 in the National Football League. You know what his record is in the postseason? He's 4-1. The one game he lost was the game he couldn't finish because he couldn't lift his arm, and then he had surgery. And so I look at this, and I'm like, it just boggles my mind. That's all. And
I'm just sitting there like, why can't you just be good?
Yeah.
Like, why does it always have to be like elite, or if you're not top 3, got a question? Like, he's just good. He's a good quarterback.
Look, because I'm with you. Right, we would all, if we were starting a franchise, you would take Herbert and you would take Lamar and you would take Josh Allen and you would take Joe Burrow and you would take Patrick Mahomes before you take him. All right, I got it. There's those 5. But as you go down the list after that, and I think most people will go, yeah, nope, I take that guy. I would take that guy. I'm not sure, man. I kind of want the guy who wins. Because to your point, does he have the best team around him?
Like, the 49ers are good, but you watch them in the playoffs, defensively, they're giving up a lot of yards. They're not a lockdown defense in the secondary, and they've had to overcome injuries, which is part of their story in the secondary. It's a credit to what they've done, but we just get so, I think, caught up on one thing. That's an elite team. That's a juggernaut. It's easy for anyone to do it, and I don't think that's the case. And when we look at Brock Purdy, the one thing in any of these conversations that we're having, and even when we overanalyze the quarterback position, I haven't heard anyone say he can't make the throws. I haven't heard anyone say he doesn't make the throws.
I mean, you can't say he doesn't.
Yeah.
You can't.
So he's got the NFL qualities you need to make the plays. He's shown you in clutch situations, he's the guy that will make the plays and not fall apart. His team's behind. All right, guess what? They won both those games. In the playoffs, his team didn't get rattled. His team didn't collapse offensively like we saw in other situations.
That's all I'm saying. He's everything I think you want in a quarterback, right? Yeah. He's composed. He makes the right decision. Well, did you see that throw? Every quarterback makes a bad throw, dude. Even Patrick Mahomes, pick him. Even Joe Montana did. Oh my goodness. Yes, even Joe Montana. John Elway did. But he makes and I get what he looks like. Look, I always will argue this. The guys on the other side have video too, right? The guys on the other side are getting paid. And if you want to tell me like the Packer game, okay? And look, I think the Niners have been incredibly fortunate in the first 2 games of the playoffs where both the Packers and the Lions, I thought, made insane mistakes with big leads to lose those football games. But conversely, this guy made plays and found ways to bring his team back. And when it mattered, when it was clutch, when you make your legacy, dude's been flawless so far, has he not?
He has been. You look at in Detroit, rough first half, like just a little over 6 yards per attempt. Second half, 10 yards per attempt, making the big plays. You take advantage of other teams' mistakes. San Francisco has done that. They were not the team that for 4 quarters played bad football. It was the right 2 quarters. They played good.
Yeah. You can get in on this. I'm curious where you are. And as a football fan, and you watch the game, you know the game, I'm not asking you to tell me he's better than Lamar. I'm not asking you to tell me he's better. I got it. But have you come to grips with Brock Purdy is a good NFL quarterback? Have you come to grips with Brock Purdy is the quarterback of the future for the San Francisco 49ers, even if he loses the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes? Because is there talk, JJ, you said something at the beginning of the segment. And if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, well, they may move on. They may go somewhere different. I mean, is that Do you think that's internal conversation or external conversation?
Right now, it's external conversation, but this is the team that, according to Brock Purdy himself, that if Tom Brady wants to play again, man, we'll bring him in.
As would
maybe
every.
That's just a Tom Brady situation, or is that any quarterback situation?
No, I think that's Tom Brady feels different to me than anybody else, doesn't he? Like if Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady,
but
right?
Is Kyle Shanahan send off text to Kirk Cousins if things don't go his way in the Super Bowl?
Do you think Kirk Cousins is better than Brock Purdy?
I think Brock Purdy's done enough to where he shouldn't have to feel like they're going to bring in a dude coming off an Achilles tear to take his job.
Look, if he loses to Patrick Mahomes, like, I don't know, everybody except for Tom Brady has done, right, in the postseason, and Joe Burrow, one time. And so he's made his legacy on that. If he loses to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, I don't believe dude loses his job. And I don't believe dude should lose his job. And I don't think that's the internal conversation. Now, if you want to tell me that we're having a conversation about Tom Brady, all right, that's a different story. Now, if they go out and get blued out and he looks like the moment's too big, which I don't expect, then we'll have another conversation. But I'm going to tell you, every situation they put this last pick in the draft in, not one time has he looked like the moment's been too big. Not one time have I seen that guy look rattled. Now, but has he made a bad throw? Has he made bad decisions? Sure he has. But not one time have I looked at it and said, no, I think that dude is rattled. Here's what I think. And I firmly believe this. People cannot get over that he was the last pick in the draft. That this just doesn't happen. It happened one time before with a 6th-round pick. And look, JJ, it took a minute before people to give Tom Brady his due. He had to win a Super Bowl, and he did in, 2002 or whatever it was against the Rams. But it took a minute for this guy who replaced Drew Bledsoe, 6th-round pick. He's pretty good. Well, it was the same conversation. He does have a great arm. He's not really that athletic. I mean, it was really the same conversation. Now, again, I'm not telling you this guy is Tom Brady. Please don't hear that. But I'm telling you, because he was picked where he was, people can't get over it. I firmly believe that's the issue.
It's a huge part of it, and it is the fact that he's on a good football team. And it's like, well, anyone's there. Okay, they tried it with a top 3 pick, and that dude wasn't good enough.
Yeah, how'd that work?
Traded him in the Dallas Cowboys, and it was Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, who's the one that is doing what the San Francisco 49ers want. And Logan Ryan was on with Colin Cowherd yesterday, and Logan Ryan is safety for the San Francisco 49ers. And anytime anyone on that team talks about Brock Purdy, they've tried to tell us for 2 years.
Yeah.
But this dude is good. They trust him. They don't feel like he's just getting by. One of the things he said, and it's what you should want in a quarterback, but people are going to hear it and go, game manager. He said, Brock Purdy's an elite processor.
I heard.
It's like, yes, that's what you want in your quarterback, but yet people are just trying to make this dude less than he is.
I heard this morning. Actually, it was on Get Up. As I was getting ready this morning, and I thought about it a lot. The term game manager has a negative connotation, right?
It does.
Why? Like why?
It's just the label, like anything else. You're stereotyping a player about they can only be this. They don't have those other traits.
Patrick Mahomes is a hell of a game manager.
He was in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. Yep. He was a hell of a game manager. All right, more quarterback stuff we get back. What did the Lions do? Did they need to go somewhere else? Well, they've made a decision. Jared Goff is the guy who got them to where they are, the NFC Championship game. They going forward with him. We'll talk about that when we come back. 505-246-0610. Merton Hanks, the former All-Pro defensive back for the 49ers, is going to be with us at 8:15, Super Bowl champion. Talk about the Super Bowl, the Niners, and the game, and about Brock Purdy, and because we had a lot of conversations. By the way, JJ, my guy came up when we were talking last night about Greatest quarterbacks, Dan Marino. He was talking about how good Dan Marino is. We'll talk with Merton coming up at 8:15. Hey, the number is growing. International Protective Service has hundreds of homeowners who trust them to install alarms and cameras to keep their eyes on homes and businesses and to respond quickly if alarms go off. They respond with armed, trained officers. The reality is police aren't coming for hours if they come at all, and in most cases, IPS is there within 7 minutes. During the holidays you traveled, you're not done traveling. You're not home all day. Who's watching your house when you're not there? Hope it's not the bad guys. Have it be the good guys, because there's nothing worse than coming home, finding out you've been a victim of a break-in. You see IPS service officers at local stores, Targets, Walmarts. IPS is making a major difference for them, and they can help you too. They've helped me for years. They watch my house every day, and when I'm gone, they're there a few times a day. They do exterior checks, the whole thing. IPS has a team watching video cameras, monitoring alarms around the clock. They secure your home with cameras, and the cameras are known to discourage criminal activity. Call them. See what they can do for you. 505-897-2420, 505-897-2420, or online at ipsglobal.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
On Brock Purdy. So these are all from the same number. Yes. This is the playoffs are the first time that Brock Purdy has shown that he's capable of playing from behind. These are the situations he needs to quarterback out of in order to shut up all of his doubters. I was telling my friend who's a Niners fan that if the Niners win the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy throws 3 touchdown passes and 350 yards, people will still question his ability. But he's also the weak point of the team. That's why MVP talk is silly. Until he is the reason they win, and up to this point, he is the reason they lose, he will be doubted, with the exception of the last 2 weeks, of course. So there haven't been a lot of situations, right, where he's had to play from behind, JJ?
There haven't been a lot of situations where a quarterback doesn't have a bad game or has a bad game and his team wins. So why is that any different with Brock Purdy?
Well, okay, he's the reason his team loses. They're 17-4 in games he starts in the regular season and 4-1 in the playoffs.
Can you say like Lamar Jackson was the reason his team lost?
I mean,
like that's what happens to quarterbacks.
That's crazy to me. So he's not. I'm going to argue with you. The Green Bay game, he's the reason they won. Now he said, with the exception of the last 2 games, I'd also argue with you. The last 2 games are the most important. They're the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
In the 3-game losing streak, was he the reason they lost all those games? I mean, he wasn't great then. He had a slump. I'll give you that. He wasn't great.
Yeah, and usually if quarterback is throwing interceptions, those teams aren't going to win that game, and thus the quarterback is a big part of why he lost the game.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones, 505-246-0610. Jeffrey, good morning. You're on The Sports Animal. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Not much. I think you touched on something. I think there's a perception, right? One, because of where he was taken in the draft, but 2, he's kind of come in under the shadow of guys like Lamar and like other quarterbacks who I would say maybe to the eye look a little more dynamic and more flashy. And so when he comes in, he's being compared to these guys, and he's not them in the way that they are them. So I'm guessing their fans don't think that. It's a lot of other people. Their fans are like, hey, whoever gets us to the dance, right? And so when you look at what he's done in his 2 years, it's like that's what you want, right? And for people that say he's the reason they lost, well, when other teams make mistakes, you have to have someone that can capitalize on those. And against Detroit, he capitalized on them big time. And so if he doesn't meet your eye test, that's fine. If you don't think, he's as good as a Kansas City quarterback, a Baltimore quarterback, or a Dallas quarterback, or whoever you want to throw out there, that's fine. But look where you're at and look where they're at, and this is exactly where you want to be. So don't worry about where he was drafted. Just, is he the guy that's going to get you to the place that you ultimately want to be? And right now the answer is yes. It doesn't matter what the eye test looks like in comparison to others. You're there. He brought you there. Appreciate it.
That's so good. It's so good. JJ, I think that's right. Quarterbacks get they win a game and they lose a game, right? I haven't heard that. I don't know. Pick your defensive player. Lost that game. Did you hear Aiden Hutchinson took the loss in the playoffs for the Lions? Have you heard that?
No.
Did Micah Parsons take the loss for the Cowboys?
No.
But they gave up 40-something points, right?
Yeah.
But it was all on Dak Prescott. So his point's so right. I mean, it's always about the quarterback. All I know is I've been told by everybody who's ever played the game, it is the ultimate team sport, right? You've got 11 dudes on a field, and everybody's got to do their job. Mark Schlereth told a story once. We had the former Bronco, and he's done a great job. I think he's on Fox now, right? JJ, the former Bronco lineman. So he was in town for New Mexico Bowl years ago, and he told this story at the luncheon. And JJ, this is it tells you the ultimate team sport. He talked about, remember the famous play with John Elway? Remember, he says, I was part of that play. He says, remember the play at the goal line where he spun in the Super Bowl, spun like a helicopter, and he scored. And he says, we were in the huddle in that play, and whatever the play was, element of PQRX and whatever the play was, right? And we go out there, and I'm ready, and I see my guy, and he moves in front of me, and okay, and I'm ready, and Hood and Elway, they snap the ball to Elway, and my dude goes right past me. And I miss my assignment. And he chases, and John gets out and goes, and if it wasn't for me missing my assignment, that play would never have happened, right? And that's how he tells that story. It's a great story the way he tells it. But the point is, everybody's got to do their job, because that play didn't come off the way it was supposed to, because the guard didn't do his job. And if you're going to tell me it's the ultimate team sport, man, let's start looking around. That's why I think these quarterbacks get way too much blame and probably way too much credit for outcomes of games.
Like, it's still one of the most important positions in football.
There's no doubt.
But I think it's hard in this era with everything having to be ranked or everything having to be a definitive. Like the fact that all day yesterday it was, is this going to define Lamar Jackson's career? Is this who these quarterbacks are? When Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, they're 27 years old. And we have to make a take yesterday that he can never win in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's playoff numbers are not good. They're worse than his regular season numbers. But I still think he's going to have ample opportunities to reverse that, to change that narrative. And it's not just one thing and you're done. And it kind of goes for Brock Purdy too, is it's just the plug and play mindset. It's a plug and play. He's living off in the shadow of Jimmy Garoppolo, been there, done that. The fact the 49ers have been so good that he can't actually be good. It's just where he is. And you know what? It's the ultimate opportunity, because you're going to have to be a little bit better than you were these last two games. Yeah, you won those games, and now you're in the Super Bowl, because on the other side, and you've said it before, Jeff, you're now playing a quarterback that's not going to give you those chances to get back in the game. That's not going to make the big mistake on the big stage. So can you raise your level of play in the biggest moments? Well, he's had good second halves the last 2 weeks in big moments, and now he gets the opportunity to show it in the Super Bowl.
No, I agree with that. And this is, to me, and I've said this, I think I said that here, right, that I just don't believe the Packers, well, I don't believe the Chiefs are going to give the Niners an opportunity to get back in it like the Packers and the Lions did if the Chiefs get out to a big lead. You look at the last 2 weeks of the playoffs, the Niners were down big to the Packers. Packers made some big mistakes. And look, I credit the Niners for winning those games. They capitalized. Their quarterback made big plays, big drives when it mattered. The Lions, I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum, right? I don't see the Chiefs. I just don't see the Chiefs making those sorts of mistakes.
Yeah, and of course, it's a different conversation, but we're not having that conversation because Brock Purdy made the plays.
Yeah.
He made the plays in the second half. If they're lackluster, can't move the football in the first half, don't score points, then okay, we'll have an expanded conversation coming off the Super Bowl. But what he has done is given himself a chance and his team to play in that game after being in back-to-back NFC Championship games and just looking at everyone, showing the world that, hey, I'm healthy, this team wins playoff games.
Yep. All right, when we come back, I know I teased you going into the last break, but we're going to, in Goff we trust, and that's what they're saying in Detroit. Is that the right decision going forward? Who's their quarterback? Well, it's going to probably be that guy. Why? And why it's the right decision. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for the Super Bowl.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
That was a throw-in a tray that got Matt Stafford, or Matthew if you prefer, to the Rams. They got him a Super Bowl, and now we got the Lions, the NFC Championship game, dang near to the Super Bowl. And in Goff, they trust. It's the opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and J.J. Buck. So, J.J., is Goff the long-term play in Detroit? And he said he loved it there. He loved every second of his time there. He was talking to MLive.com. He said he loves Dan Campbell. He loves his coaches. But it's not up to him, right? So he's entering a contract here, scheduled to make $21.7 million in base salary. He'll be $31.7 against the cap next year. If the Lions give him a new deal, it would cost them a whole lot more. Okay, there's 12 quarterbacks averaging $40 million or more a year. Quote, "It's not up to me. I love this place, and we'll see what happens as time goes on here. But yeah, I love this place. I love Dan, all the coaches. It's out of my hands. It's up to my representatives and obviously the people upstairs." End quote. What do the Lions do? Because to me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, you find it and you pay them, and let's go.
Hey, you work out a fair deal for both sides that you can get, knowing that quarterbacks are always going to get a little bit more, bigger piece of that pie. But this franchise is on such a good trajectory. As devastating as that loss was for all the moments. I know we're hyper-focused on the fourth down plays, but that was just like the first domino that fell. Like, there's so many things that went against that football team that, they have a lot to overcome in the offseason, just character-wise and just getting back to it. The pieces are there. They've been fantastic in the draft for the last 3 years. They have a quarterback that is good, that's proven that this quarterback on this team can win you football games at a high level. They're so young. Laporta, Gibbs, St. Brown, locked in with those weapons. The big thing for me is you figured out Goff, just get that extended deal, cap relief, all that stuff that comes with it. Is who replaces Ben Johnson?
Their offensive coordinator, because did he get a job, or he's going to, right?
It looks like he's going to get the Washington job, but that's going to be one, because you look at a team last year that we all thought no-brainer. They're going to be right back, and they're going to have to battle the San Francisco 49ers. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. And they went into an offseason where both of their coordinators, their offensive and defensive coordinators, got head coaching jobs in the NFL. In the last 8 weeks of the season, they were the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And the coordinators, and that's why these coordinators keep getting head coaching jobs, because so often they are as, if not more important than the head coaching. Right? I mean, I don't know if that's the case with Sean Steichen and what went down with everything in Philadelphia. But boy, there's a lot of people who do that. The magic of Nick Sirianni was all about the magic, really, of his coordinators. And when he loses both of them to get head jobs, and those guys overachieved. And I don't know if do you think Arizona overachieved? Because I think they went over their number. They were certainly a hell of a lot more competitive than most people thought they were going to be.
Sean Steichen sure did in Indianapolis without their prized pick and Anthony Richardson playing.
Right, he did it with Gardner Minshew for the majority of the year, with Anthony Richardson out all year. So I think that there's something to that. There's something the Lions got towards the end of the season that I've been waiting for, and I think may end up being something really good going into the next year. They started to utilize their first-round pick from 2 years ago, and maybe because he was healthy. Jameson Williamson got a lot more look in the playoffs. And JJ, I get this feeling that if he's healthy, I know they want him to be a big part of it. It feels like you add him on the other side from Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it feels to me like they could have two phenomenal receivers. Am I overvaluing him?
He's a first-round pick. The expectation should be that guy is a no-doubt wide receiver 2 for your team.
But he hasn't been because of the injuries and everything else.
Well, and he was suspended the first 6 games of the year.
Right. That's why that's the gambling and everything else. Right. So
now you're right. It's time that, all right, you come back, you're locked in. You have a good offense. You tackle. Penny Sewell is your franchise building block on the line. When you have all these pieces locked in, it just makes it that much easier. In free agency, want to throw a little bit more money at that secondary, and just continue to trust in your process that's yielded fantastic draft results.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this. You find a way to get Goff. You've got is Montgomery under contract still next year? I know Jamar Gibbs is because he was a rookie. So you've got 2 really good running backs, a rookie who you could make an argument is the second best tight end in the league right now in Sam Laporta. You've got a number 1 in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm just telling you the emergence of Williamson. I'm kind of watching, and I'm wondering if he's going to be the breakout player next year, like the guy who in his 3rd year. And to your point, what they've got up front on defense, you shore up the back end of that defense. I mean, you've got really good young players. Really
great place right now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to promise you they're back. And like Dan Campbell said, that's why it hurts so much after that game. He knows how hard it is to get there, how hard it is to get back. I'm not going to promise you they're back, but holy smokes, man. As we sit here today, and you want to look forward to it. They are phenomenal.
They're in a good place, and that's what you want. You know, as a fan, you believe in what your franchise is doing. You believe in what you're watching, because you never know how it plays out on the field. The opportunities that come and go, the missed opportunities, all those things. But just from a football standpoint, top to bottom, the Lions are a model organization right now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? The Lions are a model organization. I mean, just stuff you never thought you'd have come out of your mouth. DC, I got someone checking on you. Dan sent me an email, said somebody check on Donovan Cross, Jeffrey and Juan Jose. He sounded a little down yesterday, and I don't think it was because of a crummy Final Four. I wonder if he lost to George Washi or two, if he was already standing in line at the pay window when the Lions had a big lead at halftime. You okay back there?
That is so funny. Yeah, no, I'm good to go. What I was upset about is why Ben Johnson got away from the run, and but yeah,
until it was third down with 3 timeouts left, then he went to the run on the goal line.
What could have been, and it same goes with Munchak too. Like what happened? Why didn't you use the most prolific runner in the game? It's beyond me. And yes, I was a little upset by that.
Man, did you ever get to the pay window? Because you were on money line on that. You were so sure of that.
I was so sure. And actually, tell you the truth, as I've always said, I really don't gamble. I thought about that one. And to be honest, the main thing that stopped me is the limits here are very low. So I felt
so it wasn't worth your time.
Yeah, if I was going to make that bet, it was going to be a lot of digits. So I saved myself a bunch of money.
Good. All right, you want to do Red Zone when we get back?
Sure.
All right, NFL Red Zone, we get back. Merton Hanks, the former 49er, All-Pro and Super Bowl champion at 8:15 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Super Bowl 58.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I'm 610, the sports animal. We're going to talk with a former Super Bowl champion, a former 49er Super Bowl champion, a four-time All-Pro 49er Super Bowl champion, spent 9 years in the league. Merton Hanks is going to join us coming up at 8:15. JJ, you want to dive into the red zone right about now?
Let's go.
Let's hit the red zone with DC.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Are you crazy? I'm saying you're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Tom Brady this game.
You're in the red zone with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Let's go, baby!
It's first and goal.
So let me first say that the fact that we're having Merton Hanks on today is awesome. Very excited about that. But onto the red zone. So Kirk Cousins is about to get paid again, it seems. Charlie Walters of the Pioneer Press reported Saturday that the buzz now is that it will take $90 million guaranteed for 2 years if you want to sign Cousins. So do you think there's a team out there that'll pay this price? And what will people say if he actually gets $90 million in 2 years guaranteed?
They'll say, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, JJ, is $45 million a year too much for him right now?
You know what? I'm not shocked by that number because we're looking at such a small window. We're not sitting here saying it's, we're guaranteeing Kirk Cousins $210 million over X amount of time. You're looking at next 2 to 3 years locking in. If I'm Kirk, I want a little guaranteed money. He's been about that. You know, he's lived off his entire career. Really, it feels like off the franchise tag. And my first place is Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Minnesota. I would say wow, and my first place would be Minnesota. My next look is Washington and Atlanta. And saying, you know, do they both feel that they're close? I think Atlanta feels they're closer than Washington does. Will he get it? I think he's going to get close to it. Yeah, and I don't know. You tell me, what's Minnesota's plan if they don't have Kirk Cousins? Where are they going? I wouldn't be stunned if he's back there. Would you?
I wouldn't be stunned at all. I think that makes a ton of sense. Minnesota has openly talked about they want Kirk Cousins back. It's a new ownership group in Washington, so Kirk could be open to taking that phone call if they want to guarantee him that $90 million, if that is indeed his asking price. Atlanta is on the table, and then you have to put it out there. You know, if Brock Purdy does what everyone thinks he's going to do and just fall on his face and be this terrible quarterback that doesn't deserve to be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan gets Kirk Cousins back.
Yeah, I don't see that, but I guess it's not totally out of the realm. All right.
Second and goal.
All right, Kyle Shanahan is trying to get his first ring as a head coach. I'm going to ask you 2 scenarios, and you just tell me what you think. What will people say if the 49ers win? What will people say if they lose?
Regarding Kyle Shanahan, right?
Correct, yeah.
All right. So if they win, he is in that realm of the next boy genius, or he is, he's proven himself as a great coach, that he finally got over the hump. Because I think he's one of the few guys, JJ, who are considered of that status who's not yet won a ring, right? He's in some respects considered above Sean McVay, better coach, even though he hasn't won a ring and Sean McVay has, because he beat Sean McVay regularly in the regular season. And if not, he's going to be still boy genius, but can't get over the top. And JJ, your point is right. People are going, well, get a quarterback, get Kirk Cousins.
If Kyle Shanahan wins, he's right there with Sean McVay. These other coaches in the league that feel like they've elevated themselves over other Super Bowl champions just because some of the other quote unquote veteran coaches haven't won in a while. I think if you talk about coaches with Super Bowl championships and we start ranking them, because it's what we end up inevitably doing with every single thing when it comes to football, is putting things in a specific order. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Got to be a list. Yeah,
it just has to be a list with football. That Kyle Shanahan will be right there with Sean McVay, better than Mike McCarthy, better than Sean Payton, etc. Just because they've done it more recently. If he loses, he's going to take a ton of flack, and people are going to be like, "This guy can't do it. You need to move on. You need to fire your coach." Know who he is if he loses this game? It's Andy Reid.
So,
Kansas City.
I was going to bring up Andy Reid. Is he get a little bit of a pass if he loses because Andy Reid's on the other side? Is it like losing to Belichick?
No one gets passes.
Okay, except for Justin Herbert.
Except for Justin Herbert.
Right.
Established.
Got it. Got it.
Only free pass you get is Justin Herbert.
3rd and goal.
All right, I'm going to lay out a couple more scenarios. You tell me what you think. Patrick Mahomes is on his way to GOAT status, but what will they say if the Chiefs blow out the 49ers? What if the Chiefs win a close game? Or what if the Chiefs lose Super Bowl 58?
Dude, he can win close or he can win big, and it just adds to it, and people are going to start the countdown or continue the countdown towards Brady. And if he loses, what is it, then 2-2 in Super Bowls? He's been to 4. Well, I mean, Brady didn't lose this many. He's going to get compared to Brady one way or another. It's kind of like LeBron getting compared to Michael in some respects. And, well, Michael never lost. And LeBron did. I don't think he damages. To me, there's no way to damage his legacy. He can just improve it.
Yeah, you're at the point with Patrick Mahomes where it's GOAT conversation. So as you said, everything he's going to do is going to be compared to Tom Brady. Now, if the Chiefs blow out the 49ers, it's going to be Brock Purdy, who's a terrible quarterback. Because he wasn't able to stay in the game. Somehow, somebody thought I was going to fall back on Brock Purdy at the end of this game in 2 Sundays from now, Super Bowl 58. And it really doesn't matter how you win. Because the one thing with Patrick Mahomes is we don't expect him to play a bad football. We just don't.
Well, look, do you credit Tom Brady less for winning that Super Bowl where Malcolm Butler stole it at the goal line than you do for any of the other? Nobody does. It's one of his 7, right?
Super Bowl titles.
That's right.
4th and goal.
Did I stutter? Beer me.
All right, speaking of Brock Purdy, he's starting to shed the Mr. Irrelevant tag, but what will people say if the 49ers blow out the Chiefs, or they win a close game, or alternatively, if they lose the Super Bowl?
If they blow out the Chiefs, it's a system, and it's because he has the best weapons in the NFL. It's, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. Of course, that was going to be unstoppable. Brock Purdy should have done that. If they win a close game, then maybe he actually will get some credit if he has to make plays in the fourth quarter in crunch time, which he's done the last 2 weeks, is be really good in the second half of football games. And then 49ers lose. We're going to find a way to overanalyze every pass that Brock Purdy threw to tell you why he should not be the quarterback of the 49ers next season.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a bunch of credit if they win, unless he conducts a drive down the last series to win. I agree with you. I think people are going to tell you it's the system, and he has Deebo, and did you see? I agree with you 100%. And if they lose, they need Kirk Cousins. If they were a quarterback away, if they had Jimmy Garoppolo, if they would have, what about if Trey Lance would have been I can't agree with you more. I think that's exactly where it goes. I think it's going to be really hard for this young man to get his due, but at some point, I think it's got to come if they win.
That's really fascinating because I kind of expected it to go that way. It seems like Brock Purdy loses in all scenarios.
Unless he wins I mean, even does he care? If he wins a ring, and at some point he's going to get paid, right?
Does he care? Absolutely not.
No. I mean, look, and when do I get to see this dude on a chunky commercial? Or, I mean, something, right? Especially if he wins the Super Bowl.
Oh, you will. He'll get it. He'll get his opportunity in ads.
All right. We come back, a dude who got his opportunity. He's a former, he is. Once you're a Super Bowl champion, you're never a former Super Bowl champion, right? He won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. He was a Pro Bowler. He was all pro. A terrific defensive back with the 49ers. And we're going to talk to him about the 49ers, his team getting back to the Super Bowl, about Brock Purdy, about this defense. Is it a system? Former 49er great Merton Hanks is going to be with us when we come back. Guys, how you feeling? Less energetic maybe than you used to be? A little more tired, fatigued? Confidence not what it once was? Turn the page. Call New Male Medical Center. At New Male, they specialize in men's health. They offer you cutting-edge treatments for erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, and fatigue. Their expert team is dedicated to helping you feel better. So imagine feeling better every day, energetic, confident, at your best. Whether it's reigniting that passion or restoring your youthful vigor, even tackling hair loss, New Male's personalized treatments are designed just for you. Don't let another day go by feeling less than your best. Join thousands of men who have transformed their lives with New Male. It's confidential, comprehensive. Most importantly, it's about you. So when you're ready to discover the new you, visit newmalemedical.com or call them at 505-652-1688 and schedule your private consultation today. 505-652-1688. New Male Medical Center. Feel young, feel energized, feel new.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Chiefs. And you look back on the history of these franchises and two just rich franchises. And I want to really looking forward to this conversation because our next guest, Merton Hanks, won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. He was 2-time All-Pro. He spent 9 years in the National Football League. He's currently the Senior Associate Commissioner overseeing football operations for the Pac-12. And he is a Super Bowl champion. Merton Hanks joins us this morning on The Sports Animal. Good morning, Merton. How you doing? How you feeling today?
Man, Jeff, how you doing, my friend?
I woke up. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling good. Hey, I want to talk to you about this team. And when you've got a ring, when you've got the history with a team like you do with the Niners and that group, and I know you were telling me last night, you guys are coming up on your 20-year reunion for the Super Bowl. Is there always an affection? Do you watch them? Do you call them us? Like, what's your connection with a franchise, and you specifically with the 49ers?
Well, I think the word alumni is appropriate. You're an alumni of the program because you were either drafted or signed on as a free agent to be a part of the family of a specific organization, whether it's certainly San Francisco, Kansas City, what have you, right? And the 49ers have always done a really good job, in my estimation, of acknowledging its history, acknowledging the blood, sweat, and tears of its great players over the years, and celebrating its history.
Yeah.
I was really pleased to see Joe Montana as the honorary captain for the championship game. Again, just a nod to those great players who helped lay the foundation of what the 49er organization is today. And the 49ers do a great job of that. So our alumni, as you can imagine, were pretty active with the 49ers. And I've been fortunate in my working life when I worked at the NFL League office for about 13 years and then subsequently with Conference USA on the collegiate level, and then obviously now with the Pac-12, fortunate to have maintained great ties with the 49 organization, with the Yorks, with certainly the front office and all the support staff there, letting them know that we're really proud and excited for them.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about Brock Purdy a little bit, and I've got this theory: people just can't get over where he was drafted. That Mr. Irrelevant can't be this good. Dude is 17-4 as a starter, 4-1 in the playoffs, and I don't know. All he does is win. And last I heard, Herm Edwards told me once, you play to win the game. You were not drafted in the first round. You were a 5th-round pick, and you turned into a Pro Bowler. So I think you, as well as anyone, would know you don't have to be a first-round pick to be pretty damn good in this league. What's your take on Brock Purdy, and is he the future quarterback? Because I don't know, man. I watch a guy and all he does is win.
Well, I think let's take a long view to what has happened here, right? Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback certainly on the doorsteps of the Super Bowl with Jimmy, there was an organizational decision made that they needed to effectively have better, more consistent production at the quarterback position. Drafted Trey Lance, number 3 overall, gave up quite a bit to go get it. And in the same draft, drafted Brock Purdy. There's a great Hall of Fame coach named Bill Walsh who would tell me all the time, you draft a quarterback every year because that position's so crucial that you need to have one on your team that you're training, ready to go in the pipeline, and that is accustomed to your system and that you believe that can play. So the great Bill Walsh kept great quarterbacks on the roster, and that's something that's kind of in the DNA of the 49ers. Look, we're going to keep quarterbacks who can play for that said system at that given time, given the head coach. That's just how the 49ers operate. I do want to remind our fans that and when I say our fans football, certainly pro football in particular, the job of every franchise is to draft and sign players that can play for them. Our fans would be killing John Lynch if he signed folks to his team that could not play because they can't contribute to the bottom line, i.e. winning games. So kudos to the 49 organization, first and foremost, for identifying talent, whether it was in the first round or the last pick of the last round. That guy has to be able to play for you, and that's what Brock has been able to do. So congratulations to him for living up to, quite frankly, his potential. And congratulations to the 49ers for schematically and temperamentally putting him in position to succeed.
Merton Hanks joining us on The Sports Animal, Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, and you're an all-pro in the secondary. And there's so much talk about the way the game is played now, when they're trying to take the physicality out of it. But as a secondary player, the amount of passing that goes on, how would you be playing in this game today, and what do you think you could do against these quarterbacks?
I think the NFL is drastically a more difficult game for the defensive player just because the rules really are skewed towards the offense. The NFL wants 34-30 games. That's exciting football, points are scored, there's drama, and that's been reflected in the rule set over the last many years. Certainly I've seen the inner workings of that unfold, and quite frankly, have been a part of many of those discussions. So I understand what the NFL is trying to do, and from a defensive standpoint, it just makes the job that much more difficult. I give all the credit to the world to any back seven player, i.e. your linebackers and your defensive secondary, for being able to defend on the level that these great athletes have been able to defend really across the entirety of the NFL, because I tell you, the rules are so drastically skewed against their success in doing so that it really is a minor miracle that a flag is not thrown every single play in that respect. So kudos to them. But athletically, look, there's been great athletes in every generation, and people figure out a way to get it done. I remember the great Ronnie Lott saying basically the same thing. You've heard this phrase. There are some people that can play in any era.
Yep.
In this era right now, especially with my skill set and how I played, I would dare to say that there'd be many a defensive back coach that would love to have, my skill set in their secondary today.
I promise.
So I would have a problem.
I promise. He's Merton Hanks, the former 49er great. He's with us on The Sports Animal. You've been on the other side. If you're the Lions, if you're the Ravens, you lose in the NFC Championship game, how tough is it to turn that thing around? And how long does it take to realize how close you are and get that thing back on track and get there the next year?
Jeff, that's just an awesome question. I don't know if our fans truly, there are things that we just, say, and I don't think we really appreciate the meaning behind it. It is so difficult to get to a NFL, NFC, or AFC championship game. That's what makes what Kansas City is doing, that's what makes it so awesome, quite frankly, that they've been able to put it together and get to that game as many times as they have over the past 5 years. Think about this for our 49er fans. That San Francisco team that played the Kansas City in Miami Super Bowl, I forget what number the Super Bowl was. I remember the great George Kittle, a 5th-round pick for our fans, out of the University of
Out of where?
Out of the University of Iowa. A 5th-round pick. Again, fans, let's recall, that's what happens when you have good front office. You find players at every level of the draft that can play for you. So anybody doubting Brock Purdy, they either don't understand roster construction, they don't understand roster management, and they don't understand the art, and it's not a science, it's more of an art, of finding good players at every level of the draft. That's how you build your teams.
Yeah.
So anyway, George Kittle stands there at Super Bowl. I'm there at Super Bowl. I remember this. And I think somebody caught it on film somewhere. He's like, look, I'm going to get back here to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to effectively do better than I did this past time. You're not going to beat me. George Kittle has been on one of the best performing teams in the last 4 years in the 49ers. They've been 4 of the last 5, NFC championships.
NFC championships, yeah.
It took him 4 years to get back to the Super Bowl. And that's what a team that was built to do it. Now, imagine being on a team that's not built to do it. They're not ready for prime time.
Merton, the example is Dan Marino. Dan Marino's the example of this, right? The guy we talked about last night. How many? I remember when Montana beat that. Montana beat him when the Niners beat the Dolphins in Marino's rookie year, and he'll be back countless times. Never got back.
Never. It's just so difficult to look to. And I played in 3. I'm not an eye story guy, but I got to tell it. I played in 3 NFC championship games, lost 2 back-to-back to the hated Dallas Cowboys. I remember those just as much as I remember winning the one versus the Dallas Cowboys in Candlestick Park. It is the worst. In many ways, it's worse. It's the worst feeling, certainly on a football professional level, that you could have. If you make it to the Super Bowl and lose, you were the NFC or AFC champion at minimum.
That's right.
You got there, and at some point, you just didn't quite get it done. You lose an NFC or AFC championship game, you just played an extra game or 2 in the playoffs. And you got nothing for it.
Yeah.
Other than watching another team celebrate going on to the Super Bowl. It is the worst feeling in the world, and I feel so terrible for the Lions players because even though they're young, they got a great. I like Dan Campbell; he's going to be fine. They've got a great organization. They're moving clearly in the right direction. If anybody, without unbiased eyes, looks at what they're doing from a scheme standpoint and from an type of athlete that they have on their roster.
He's Super Bowl champion.
But to assume that they're going to get back to Super Bowl. Dan had it right, or to the NFC Championship game.
It's hard.
It's hard. I'm not sure if they're going to do it.
Super Bowl champion Merton Hanks.
They had their moment and they missed it.
Yeah, Merton Hanks is with us just for a few more minutes. I know you got a meeting here coming up that you got to get into.
Merton, quickly before we let you go, as a defender, you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You have Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. How are you attacking these teams on Super Bowl Sunday?
You know what? I'm kind of a George Seifert. I'm kind of from that school in respect to we're going to play our game from a defensive standpoint, but at some point you got to take away the offensive best threat, right? Kind of a Bill Belichick way in that respect. We're gonna if you're going to beat this person's not going to beat you, right? So I do think the 49ers are going to have to decide a little bit on what's most important and where they can hold up. Can they commit to getting to Patrick Mahomes with 4 people? Can 4 people do it? Or are they going to have to send an extra man and expose that secondary a little bit to a little bit more man coverage? They've been playing a lot of zone here lately in that respect. So, and Patrick Mahomes, look, Jeff mentioned Marino, Dan, and for our viewers, our listeners who who may not know who he is, go look him up on YouTube. He's the best pure passer the NFL's probably ever seen.
I love you saying that.
An awesome quarterback.
I love you saying that. All right. Yeah, no, I love it. I've been saying that for a while. All right, go jump in your meeting. JJ, here's what I learned about Merton last night. He never lost to the Rams, and it was fact-checked last night. All those years playing in the same division, never lost to the Rams.
We got after the fact checker. He thought I was just sitting up there making up true stories.
8 years in a row. All right, my friend. That's so good. I appreciate you spending some time with us. It's such great stuff. I'll see you later. Get in your meeting. I know it starts here in about a minute and a half. So go do it, and best of luck. Keep doing what you do. I'll see you soon.
All right. I appreciate you, Jeff.
All right, be well. He is Merton Hanks. One of the best. By the way, you know when Shaq used to do the chicken dance, JJ? Shaquille O'Neal? That's where it comes from. Merton Hanks is the original guy. He did the chicken dance, and if you look that up, Shaq kind of did hit. That was his celebration. Merton scored 3 touchdowns on his 33 interceptions playing pro football, and he was good. For those of you who remember how good he was in his stories, JJ just sitting at dinner, him and AJ's last night, listen to NFL stories. I'm just telling you. Sometimes you sit there and absorb it. All right, when we come back, I got a lot coming out of that, and really. His perspective on Brock Purdy, I want to get into. That's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for the Super Bowl.
This report brought to you by Sandia Area.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
For your surprisingly great rates, Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentering trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows.
Because it was winter and it was yucky and there was mud and there was all that stuff. Take care of it. Call my friends at On the Spot Automotive Detailing. They will come out and take care of your vehicle when it's convenient for you, where it works for you. That means they do it at work, at your house, wherever it works for you. When they're done, your car looks and feels and smells like the day you took it off the lot. They are the best of the city in 2023 because they're reliable and they're efficient. They're just the best at what they do. You give them a call or just look at them online. You can book there. Valentine's Day is coming up. This is a great gift. OTSdetailing.com. It's OTSdetailing.com. JJ, one of the things, the perspective, and why I wanted to have Merton on, a couple of reasons. A, he's a Super Bowl champion, and he did it with the Niners, and the Niners are in. But he was a fifth-round pick, and I know he felt a little bit slighted. And a guy that was a fifth-round pick that went to 4 Pro Bowls and was on 3 All-Pro teams and was known for his interception returns and the chicken dance, all that stuff. I thought his perspective on Brock Purdy would be really good, and it was. And never mind, Brock Purdy went to Iowa State and Merton went to Iowa. I know there's that, right? But I appreciated his perspective on it.
Yeah, this is just such. It is a great football conversation. It's a reminder of, you're always trying to find that elevator at the quarterback position, that quote-unquote franchise quarterback, but there's so much more that goes into winning football games. And it is the ultimate team sport with what you need, specific players on each side of the football. And I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl matchup because I do think, the 49ers have a little bit of that feeling of Andy Reid in Philadelphia and those teams where I was like, Donovan McNabb wasn't good enough. Andy Reid can't win the big game, but that is exactly where Kyle Shanahan is right now with his 49ers team getting ready to play in his second Super Bowl with the squad versus, in a team that Andy Reid in Philadelphia saw, when it was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick on the other side.
Yeah, by the way, unsolicited, I appreciate him bringing up Dan Marino and saying what he said. We had a conversation. There were 2 NFLers sitting at the table last night, and from 2 different eras, right? And they were talking about like the hardest runners they've ever run against, and Merton talked about playing against Walter Payton at the end of his career, and he talked about Eric Dickerson, and some of the then you got the AJ Eads, who was more recent, talking about LaShawn McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, right? Those kind of guys, and just listen to how they respect. They all love Randy Moss, but I thought your question on playing defense was good, right? Because a guy who played DB in that day and this day, he brings up a term, and he's right. We hear all the time, he could have played in any era. But I thought his perspective on the rules on defense, I don't know what you thought of that. I thought it really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, it is, because it's what you hear so much about, the physicality of the game, how things are easier for offensive players, which they are. And we see a lot of that in games, defensive holding pass interference calls. But there's certain guys that I'm always interested when the game is played, especially wide receivers of that era and defensive backs from that era, how they feel about the game today when we're hyper focused on those positions with the way it's played.
Yeah, I think it was it's fun, man. All right, a good conversation. If you missed it, wanted to hear again, or want to hear it again, want to share it, it'll be wherever you get your podcasts, or just go to our website, sportsanimalabq.com. Click on the opening drive, and it'll be there, and you can listen to a guy. Like I was saying last night, you're never a former Super Bowl champion. You're a Super Bowl champion, right? It was funny when he said, "I never lost to the Rams," and I said, "How is that even possible, dude? You played 8 years for the Niners. That means you played them twice a year." And the dude across the table was like, "There's no way," and he fact checked it, and he's like, "Damn, dude, they swept them every year." Like, I told him, like, why are you gonna question me? Never lost to the Rams. He was that good. All right, JJ's going to take you home from here. I got some meetings I got to jump into, and I'm with you the rest of the week from here. Is that all right?
That is all right, because this is a perfect segue, Jeff, because we got to talk about our sweet deal today.
Oh, so, look at that.
As you got to go do your bowl duties, we will transition to our sweet deal for the day. Calvary Christian Academy. Ed is joining us in studio. Good morning, Ed. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Yourself?
Doing great. Thank you so much. And so Calvary Christian Academy, you guys have a fantastic opportunity for our listeners. We're talking about deals available kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th grade through 12th grade. What is Calvary Christian Academy?
Calvary Christian Academy, we are a faith-based school, and we go all the way from preschool to high school. One of the things that sets Calvary Christian Academy apart, I would say we like to praise ourselves on the ratio, 16 students to 1 teacher. In the public schools, you got a way bigger setting than that, and nothing to put them down. It's just what they're dealing with right now. And for us, one of the things that we want to do is be able to reach these kids, encourage them. If some of them they don't understand anything, sometimes they can get lost in a big crowd like that. So one of the things we want to do is just reach them with that small ratio, give them that individual attention that they need.
And with today's opportunity, it's a chance for people that might not think, I can't do this, or my kid has to go to public school because life is hard, and we all have
definitely
have budgets. And today's opportunity is half off tuition at Calvary Christian Academy. Why is it? Why should this be something parents really think about, even if they're like, I don't know if we can do it? Why? What's the benefit?
So I would say the benefit there, like I said, is just the bigger sizes with public school. And like I said, I'm not going to come here just bash public school. I mean, all of us, we're in situations where that's what we got to do. We do what we got to do. This is just an opportunity for us just to offer to the public, hey, half price. Normally prices are going to go anywhere from like $6,600, almost $7,000. We're going to cut that in half for a sweet deal. Just to let you know, it is affordable. And even if that's a little tough for you, come and talk to us, because we're always dealing with families that are coming in. They're like, we want to come to a school like this just because my student's struggling at a public school, but we can't really afford it. We hear that. There's also some scholarships that are out there as well. So we would love to just come and just talk to the families, let them know, like, hey, they're going to get a faith-based curriculum. Their kids are going to grow academically, and then they're also going to have fun, because we do have all the elective classes that they can take, art, music, drama, dance, stuff like that they can get in a public school as well. So, yeah.
So you guys are located at Tramway Indian School.
Tramway Indian School.
People are listening maybe on the west side, other parts of town, and like, I like this, but are there opportunities for kids to get there?
So there is. We do offer a shuttle that picks up like Coors and Paseo. One shuttle there, and that'll get them across town. That way they're not dealing with the traffic. I drove in today over here to you guys, and I'm like, man, there's so much traffic. I never realized, but there is. So there is opportunity to get them up there, and then the shuttle will take them back, drop them off. So if there's, parents out there on the west side looking, how do I get all the way up there? There's one opportunity there.
There's opportunities to get there. So our sweet deal goes live on our website, sportsanimalabq.com at 9 a.m. this morning. It's half off tuition at Calvary Christian Academy. If people want to learn more about you, where can they go, look up, call to get that information?
So they can go to Calvary Christian Academy, abq.org, And on there, they can look at our website. They can just explore it. Also, there's a button on there where if they want to set up a tour or just request some information from us, just hit that, fill in some information, and we'll get back to you.
That's perfect. Awesome. Ed, thank you so much for this
Thank you.
opportunity. And if you want to learn more, Calvary Christian Academy, the sweet deal goes live on our website at 9 a.m. SportsAnimalABQ.com. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by
Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Jr. Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com.
The losses always hurt more than the wins. You talk to any athlete, any coach, heck, any fans, you remember the losses a lot more than you do the wins. It's just something about sport. It's hard to enjoy the moment. It's hard to, live in the now. It's always about the missed opportunities. I'm talking with Merton Hanks a couple segments ago, Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers. And Jeff asked him the question about, bouncing back if you're Baltimore and Detroit, because it is the unknown and it's so hard to reach this level. And Merton Hanks said that was the hardest thing for him, is losing in a championship game, losing early in the playoffs. You go home with nothing. If you get to the Super Bowl, at least you won your conference. So there's at least a little trophy that you get to have for being an AFC or NFC champion. And you look at the playoffs this year. To me, when you're on the doorstep, you're a step away. That's going to be the hardest losses. But DC, which do you think, if you had to rank the playoff losses this year, do you immediately go to the championship game, or do you go back to maybe Dallas getting blued out at home?
I actually, my first instinct as you laid that out is Green Bay and San Francisco, because that was theirs to win.
Yes,
that was really theirs to win. Cowboys getting blown out. That was up there. And I guess if you're a Cowboy fan, you're probably going to say that's number one.
Oh, of course. I think it's hard when you're in Detroit in that spot, double-digit lead, second half, NFC Championship game. I think that's the toughest loss. Just how quickly it went sideways. I know all we did yesterday, and I did it throughout the day. Did a podcast on it even Monday night, debating the 4th down stuff with some people, and you're hyper focused on that. But it's yes, they missed that one play, but it was crazy how quickly everything else went against them. You didn't get that 4th down, all of a sudden there's a doink 50-yard reception off your defender's face mask. They're in the end zone. You can't do a handoff that you've done how many hundreds of times this season, and then just like that, it's gone. Your lead.
When you lay it out like that in the NFC Championship, that probably actually is number one. They had it at halftime. I think a lot of people were probably looking at it what else is on TV? They've got this wrapped up. That you make a good case. I could see that.
I'd probably have those two.
Yeah,
the Lions lost in NFC Championship game. The Packers just getting boat races 2 seed at home in the wild card round. The Ravens, you're going to feel frustrated because you scored season low 10 points at home AFC Championship game.
Your defense holds them to 17, and
defense playing
move the
phenomenal.
Ball. It's funny, as we lay it out, every loss hurts. Every single one, no matter how close or far apart it was. I do also look at Chiefs going on the road and beating the Bills. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But as we break it down, everyone hurts. You made the playoffs. You're 18 weeks in. You've put in all this work. You've come together with your team. You've got, these relationships that are built around this success you've had in the regular season. Every single one of those losses has got to sting so bad.
Remember when the conversation ahead of the divisional round was Patrick Mahomes has to play a road playoff game? Patrick Mahomes on the road. What are you going to do? And all he did was beat Buffalo and Baltimore in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, again, you lay it out like that. It's like rewind 2 weeks. The narrative was so different. We were starting to wonder, like, okay, what do we really know about this guy? Is he really as good as we think? Just 2 rings.
Gets to play at home all the time.
Yeah, he's got the easy route. Those rings are half rings. No, that's him going on the road and getting those 2 wins though in Buffalo and Baltimore is insane, because those 2 teams. A lot of people would say the Bills at that time were the hottest team in the league, and the Ravens showed that they were probably the best team overall up to the point where they lost to the Chiefs. So, I guess if I was going to award someone who kind of had the biggest wins, I'd probably look at the Chiefs.
Absolutely. 2 at Buffalo, the 2 seed, at Baltimore, the 1 seed, and they won close games in each. 3-point win, a 7-point win in your opponent's house, and it sets up what should be a fantastic Super Bowl, because I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be in over his head. I think Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco, is going to have something for KC, just like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will have something for that San Francisco defense, and we got plenty of time to dissect that. Coming up next, though, it's time. Kicking it with KT, Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, the NBA veteran, joining us in studio. We'll get his thoughts on what it's like trying to bounce back from losing big games, but also how to get out of a losing streak. The Heat have lost 7 in a row. The Suns, Devin Booker's on fire, and Doc Rivers' debut, not great in Denver. And also, how about them Lobos? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the Frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
What a time it is to be kicking it in Lobo Land. Hoops Land, it's heating up. Things are getting hot. You're getting towards the All-Star break in the NBA. Teams are actually starting to look at, where are we? You look at the University of Mexico, one more game in January. That loaded home schedule with Boise State on deck Wednesday night. The Lobo legend, NBA veteran, Kenny Thomas with us. What's up, man?
What's up, my guy? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Man, great, man. Life's good.
Right?
I mean, obviously, this is radio. Not a lot of money in this, but we actually enjoy it. And being able to be heard, man, it's good. It's a great morning. Got a lot going on. Just happy, man.
Yeah, and now that you've been in it a little bit, most of the conference play doing Lobos Live over on KKOB, the post game. What do you think of the reaction so far? Of course, it helps when that team's playing good.
Yeah.
But as you said, getting your voice out there and just getting to hear from the people about Lobo basketball.
Man, it's been great. Obviously, me and you started the first show. We had a great amount of callers. Even the first show, it's been very consistent, and I've been a little skeptical of like some of the late games, right? Like if people are still going to call in, we have our 4 or 5 regulars that call in, but people are calling in like on their break. A guy in Vegas calling in, and we had a guy call in from Wisconsin yesterday. That's an alumni. I mean, the last game, Pittsburgh. So it's not just local, but the nice thing about it is, hey, call in or text. We really appreciate you guys. I'm doing it for the community, to be honest, to give people an outlet to be able to speak and voice their opinion on how the games are going.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what we do every morning. And as more and more people realize, their post-game call-in show after the broadcast, you guys are live on News Radio KKOB. That's only going to continue to pick it up. And when you're playing as well as the Lobos are, you want to stay up late. You're excited to stay up late. 8 o'clock Sunday night, 15,000 people in the pit. Yeah, I know it was the largest storylines with that game, Nevada, Steve Alford, but I was just sitting there going, man, this is awesome on a Sunday night.
Yeah, it's huge because I really anticipated that amount of people coming out because this is what that community does. And that's what I know. From 95 to 99, that's all I know. I don't care who we were playing. I had 18,000, and that support and is huge, especially being the 6th man and how they're holding the Lobos down. And that energy that the Lobos are receiving from the community, trust me, community, it feels really good to have that support. And then going on the road, man, like in Air Force, it's cold and it's boring and you don't really want to go in there, but the community still went down in support. Like the Lobo Nation is pretty spectacular, to be honest.
Yeah, you're seeing it, the pockets of red everywhere, whether it was at Air Force, San Jose State, there were some Lobo fans there at that game. And now you get to hopefully finish out in January on a high note with Boise State in town tomorrow. But just looking back at this 5-game streak the Lobos are on since that UNLV game, they're beating opponents by 20 points per game.
Yeah.
Scoring 91 points per game. And it's something Jalen House, after after the game Sunday night against Nevada, he sat down and said, the team we had to refocus after UNLV.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much, they knew they were good, but the difference was they clicked and said, effort has to be different.
Yeah.
Every single day. So the practices are harder. You just have to lock into a different level. And that's kind of a weird thing to think about when the team was with the expectations, the way they're playing. But obviously, when you're beating teams like 20 points, you're locked into something.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the key thing about it is those losses on the road is that they're on the road, right? Like, it's not easy to go on the road and win. I don't really care what conference you're in, but this conference, the Mountain West, it's you got like 5 or 6 teams that's like legit contenders that can actually play some ball and gonna make some noise in the March Madness tournament. But like Hal said, man, they had to regroup well. Mashburn's been playing some great ball now. He's regrouped, and the way that the vibe and the energy is now, you can tell that the support is there. And I feel like this is the right time for it all to happen. One, those first couple road losses, a bub went off, right? But you come home, you take care of home court. It's one of those things you're supposed to do. But now you got a Boise State team that's coming in that's playing some great basketball, and they kind of play like Utah State. It's going to be a slow game. Boise State, I think, is averaging like 74 points a game, and their opponents are averaging like 60-something points. And as we know, the Lobos are scoring way more points than that. So the Lobos got to be patient and push the ball and go on runs. I think that's when the Lobos are really good. And I gotta give Nia Wilson, Lobo ladies basketball team. She got Mountain West Player of the Week. Yeah, so much love to the ladies. You guys keep it up. You guys are balling.
Yeah, so that's back-to-back weeks for the UNO women. It was Anaya Ogman and then Nia Wilson, the backcourt winning Mountain West Player of the Week. Yeah, it's a good vibe right now. Lobo women 6-2 and Mountain West Play. Lobo men are 6-2. So we've seen firsthand. We've seen San Diego State, Utah State, Nevada. We watched that Colorado State game, and then we'll get Boise State. How you feeling about the other contenders in the Mountain West, just from what you've seen now watching them play?
The other contenders that are...
Yeah, like when you look at Utah State, you look at San Diego State.
Okay.
Just the teams that we've been able to watch and break down.
Keep in mind, the last couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, there's been about 5 or 6 teams that's been right there in the top 50, top 60 in the Mountain West Conference. So there's like San Diego State, they got some bigs that can play. The two brothers that are there, they play great together. But they're gonna have to come here now. You still got Colorado State that has to come here now. So it's a matter of capitalizing on the ones at home, obviously. But there's some teams that's about to come in here that's playing some good basketball. So as a player and as a human, you can kind of like expect a win without even trying to expect the win. And then you come out and you play down to the competition. I feel like this is where House is going to bring that energy. And I just think it's contagious.
It was on Sunday night against Nevada. It's kicking it with KT, Kenny Thomas, joining us in studio. Look at Jalen House, 6 steals, just 21 points, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, and it's something we talk about every single week. But it's true, man. Like, the team vibes off him. If he is going 110 miles per hour, you see everyone else picking up their energy.
Yeah, the energy's been there. It's been great. The vibe. I really got to say this again. I feel like that the support that the Lobos are getting in the pit, it's a tremendous help. Jalen House getting Player of the Week, and the nice thing about it, man, I actually like tagging the guys and reaching out to them and telling them congratulations, because I did the same thing with JT and I did the same thing with Jalen House, because I really appreciate these guys coming here and making Lobo basketball what it is. I'm not saying that those are the only 2 guys, but thank you, all the Lobo players and Patino, for making Lobo Nation back to where it is.
Yeah, they raise the expectation. They're playing up those expectations. It's a place to be once again. It is at the Pit for a Lobo basketball game, and you've been on that floor, and you tell us 71-3. You won a lot of games in that building on that floor.
A lot of memories, man.
What's it like though when you get that momentum and that crowd is buzzing and you kind of reach that level in the game where you look at your opponent and you go, you're not going to be able to overcome them.
Yeah, when you're on that floor, sometimes I still have dreams, man. Like I'll be hooping in the pit, or I'll get that extra year of eligibility, right? Like it's so random, but sometimes I'll just feel like that crowd of 18,000 people, or the community of the state of New Mexico, even though some people come down from Las Cruces or whatnot, or they're Aggie fans, but this state, when it comes to basketball, is just electric. And the community, they love basketball, man. And I felt like being at that Nevada game just the other night, the energy, the passion was there, the vibe was there. The fans were supporting. And it just felt really, really, really like the Lobos were on fire. And it felt good.
It did, because you're looking at a game where New Mexico is in control. Nevada gets it to 9, and then boom, it was back to double digits. True Washington hit a 3. The Lobos go down and get a stop, and then House comes back, hits another 3, and it's just good night.
Yeah, I mean, it's college basketball, which is it's played on a very, very high level. The Lobos did get up in the first half by a significant amount of points, but I said to myself at the game, Nevada's gonna go on a run. Right? It's just how it is to a certain extent. The majority of the runs do happen. But even though that they did go on a run in the second half, like you said, cut it to 9, it's always a matter of who's going to step up on the Lobos and answer. That's what it really comes down to. And the way UNM is playing offense right now, pin downs for Mashburn is great, man. Like him coming off things like that, and him coming off the dribble and going off the dribble and pulling up, because you never, the defender can never know when you're actually going to put up. The great Larry Brown taught me that. But the way that Mashburn is playing right now, he's the key. He just really is. And Dent and House, they're going to get theirs, and they're going to get to the basket, and they're going to create. And I feel like it's just going to open up for JT and Nelly. And I got to give, man, Nelly's playing some great basketball right now.
Double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds in the win over Nevada. And it's also just the defense this team plays, because it's when we think about defense, a lot of times you think, oh, it's slow, it's low-scoring games. Well, they held Nevada to 55 points, still out there. Still went out and scored 89 points. But they're speeding people up. They're getting those turnovers, getting those blocks. And when you get your opponent uncomfortable in this building, it could be a long night.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind when the Lobos are playing the passing lanes. When I say Lobos, I mean guards and bigs, because typically you have the guards that are more active in the passing lanes. It is turning into the other team having to press a little bit, because the Lobos are getting easy baskets. And then the other team, what do you got to do? You got to score. And then when the Lobos are consistently doing that and going on runs and consistently getting into the paint, when the Lobos get a foot into the paint, man, they're deadly. Because it opens up so much, because the defense collapsed, right? And then that's where the guards are able to find the bigs and create opportunities. And then everybody's starting to feel good, and then it's even more contagious.
It's confidence, everyone embracing their role, enjoying the moment. So tomorrow night, Boise State comes down, 8:30 tip-off. First, Kenny Thomas, Brennan Ortega, Lobos Live. Post-game, for you over on News Radio KKOB, taking your calls and your texts. And you kind of mentioned it before we hit this break. You said the key against Boise State is be ready to handle if they try to slow it down, try to show some wrinkles at you. Just be ready.
Yeah. Boise State got a kid that transferred from Arizona, number 5. I can't think of his name. And then they have the other guy that's like the big. He's kind of a big man, but he's more like a 3.
Yeah, Dagan Hart.
To me. Yeah, him. I saw them play some great ball the other day. They were at home, and it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like the Lobos will be able to double team and run some different things. You saw the Lobos go to a zone the other night against Nevada to try and mix it up, and I feel like the Lobos are going to put pressure on them full court too, to where they don't feel comfortable. It's going to be a good game.
You can't wait. 8:30 tomorrow night at the Pit. Lobos, Boise State, New Mexico, right in that 5-game winning streak, beating opponents by 20 points per game, scoring 91 points per game. And oh, by the way, they played some defense because no Nevada player scored in double figures.
Yeah. Hey, those things happen.
They do.
They really do.
It's Kenny Thomas, Lobo legend, NBA veteran, in studio with us, talking some hoops. We come back on the other side. Well, we're talking about the positive streak for the Lobos. How do you get out of a negative streak when you find yourself putting back-to-back L's on the board? We'll touch on that. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The Super Bowl match.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like this shorty, you got my attention.
505-246-0610, the Sports Animal Hotline and Text Line. You want to talk some hoops with us? Kenny Thomas kicking it with KT Tuesdays, Fridays, right here on the Sports Animal. Lobo legend, NBA veteran joining us. Of course, dudes putting in the work. Lobos Live post-game following Lobo men's basketball over on News Radio, KKOB. Late nights. How you handling the late nights?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, keep it like, I think I've said this before, but like if you really think about it, in college, we used to travel, but it wasn't late. But I'm pretty sure the Lobos get in kind of late after a game, right?
They do.
Especially on the road.
Yeah.
And getting home late after a game, too, here local sometimes, too. But the NBA, traveling from one city to the other, they're typically close, and you go on like some 3 or 4 games to where they're road trips to where cities are close. But if you really think about it, after a game, it could be 10 o'clock, and then I got to go get on a plane at like 11:30 and fly somewhere else, get in at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, sleep, and then I might play the next day.
Back to back.
And then, you know what I mean? Or if we didn't play, we sleep in, then we have a practice in the afternoon or something like that, right? But it's man, I'm already used to it. And then 2 years doing TV, driving from Sacramento to the Bay Area for NBC Sports California. Those road games, depending on where they were, especially like East Coast games.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I wouldn't get home till like 1 a.m. because I drive from the Bay,
man.
Unless it was a back-to-back. So
that's why you're a professional. You got it.
8 o'clock game.
No problem.
I probably got home the other night after Nevada at like 12:30. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Doing work. That's what Kenny Thomas does right here on the Sports Animal. Rudy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good. Hey, Kenny, I wanted to ask you, I know Sunday night you were there, but did it almost seem like the crowd was there to show Alfred what he walked away from? I really got that feeling that they wanted to show him, hey, you left the best thing you ever had.
Thanks, bud. I would have to say yes, but I don't think it was necessarily an Alfred thing, even though everybody's like kind of pointing it at Alfred. I think it's more of a, okay, it is an Alfred thing, but the way I'm explaining it, it's more of like you left when the Lobos were good. Why would you leave? But he left because he had to go get the money, right? But where's the loyalty at? That's where this community's coming from. That's why this community feels the way they feel. And as you know, Alfred didn't even come out for the press conference after.
So what I did learn about that, Alfred does not do post-game radio at Nevada. He just does like the media scrum by the locker room.
There we go.
So he doesn't do like Patino comes down. We've seen it in the past for the Lobo Radio Network. He doesn't do that in Nevada.
See?
So
there you go.
Yeah.
So people chill out.
Yeah. But it's the energy. And I think that's the passion. And it's one of the things I talked about. It's just like, that's the, like, Lobo fan. Like, it's like, I was just like, wow. Like, I know it's good, but when you're in those moments, it is awesome because you've played all around this conference when you're there at big time venues. You've been around the NBA in big time environments, but when this community is rallied around basketball, you feel it.
Yeah,
you do.
See, I was in the WAC too, so there's some different teams that have gone and you know how the Lobos switched over to the Mountain West, right? But the impact that the community in this environment has on Lobo basketball, it's the biggest thing in town. I know you got the United, and then you got the Isotopes, and then you got Lobo football, which is pretty good. But I just feel like the basketball has always been the one that's been in the forefront.
Of course it is. It's what we see. One of the things I did want to talk to you about since we have you here is, we're talking about this positive buzz about the Lobos winning 5 games in a row. It's like when you are mid-season and you hit one of those streaks, and we're seeing that with the Miami Heat right now. They've lost 7 games in a row. The Suns went in there and beat them last night. And the Suns are kind of in a weird streak, too. They're 2-2 over the last 4 games, and yet Devin Booker has 46, 62, 44, 22. So I think there's some figuring out of what's the right balance for Phoenix. But when you're in the middle of the season, you hit a skid like that. Is it a locker room thing where you guys are just kind of looking around, or is it just, hey, you're on to the next day, know these things can happen? How do you get back on track?
Well, these things can happen, but obviously Miami is probably going to be like, hey, you guys just got rid of Kyle Lowry for that trade. And now they haven't lost 7 games since 2008. And it's like, okay, we're freaking out. But it's Pat Riley, the famous, unbelievable Pat Riley. So I don't think there's any worries there. Sometimes these things just happen, and it's the Eastern Conference. So I don't know where their standing is right now. But with the play-in tournament now, 7 through 10, you still get an opportunity, right?
Yeah,
so
you have a different kind of runway now.
Yeah, so you're totally not out of it, but things happen. Hopefully they can get it turned around. And I mean, talk about losing streaks. The Warriors, man. I think they're in like 12th.
They are
13th right now.
Yeah, they have lost 2 in a row, just 3-7 in their last 10 games, and they had that double overtime.
Yeah,
lost to the Lakers Saturday night.
Lost to the Kings last week or something like that. Before the Kings just went on their long road trip right now. But the Warriors are 4 games, I think, out of the 10th spot to be a play-in team. But the way that the league is now, there's a lot of points being scored, and there's not a lot of defense being played. And it's going to be interesting to see after this All-Star weekend that's coming up here in the next couple weeks on who's going to make that push and what's going to happen in both conferences.
Yeah, you mentioned right now that the Miami Heat, they're in 7th, so they're 3 games back of the Pacers.
See, and they lost 7 in a row, so that should tell you right there how the Eastern Conference is. It's one of those things that losing 7 in a row, I don't think you can bounce back from that in the Western Conference.
No, that would be much harder. You're right on that with what we're seeing there. And a player I wanted to talk to you about too is Ben Simmons.
Interesting cat.
Yeah, interesting cat indeed. The going from, hey, this is the next franchise guy to, is this guy going to be able to ever play basketball again mentally and physically? Well, for the first time in 38 games, he got back on the floor for the Brooklyn Nets last night. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, no turnovers in 18 minutes as the Nets rolled the Jazz 147-114. I think it's moments like that where you wonder, how has Ben Simmons not just been able to find a consistent groove?
Yeah, how has he not played in more games with all the money he makes?
Yep.
The NBA is a different beast now, man, from when I played. I played 11 years. I was around it. I still am a little bit, but the NBA, it's a totally different beast, man. These kids are making a significant amount of money.
Well, there's guys making in 1 year what the salary cap was for your entire team.
See, very well said. Very well said. Well, I think it was 45-50 million when I played. Now it's 136 million salary cap for 15 cats. Good for them, man. Good for them. And then the Lobo squad flying on private jets. I used to have to fly commercial, man. But good for them as well. That means
you paved the way for those private jets, so thank you.
I appreciate that. But what's nice is those things should have been in place a while ago. But with our economy and how things work, good for them, and they deserve it.
Tomorrow night, the Pit, 8:30. Place is going to be popping. Are you expecting this team to just keep it rolling? Do you have that expectation now?
Yes. It's gonna, like I said before, the tempo is gonna be very important. The Lobos just got to be patient and take their moments like they have been. Keep the defensive intensity up. All 5 positions. The bench has been amazing. Baker Jr. has been great. True, Emzil, those guys are coming in and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is play within the concept of the offense. But the concept of the defense is contagious, and I feel like anybody that comes in, they're not playing defense, they shouldn't play.
Well, if you go to the pit, you enjoy good basketball, enjoy KT wine.
Yeah,
it's popping.
KT Legacy Wines, Kenny Thomas Wines. You can ask for it at the pit. It's unfortunately it's only on a suite level because there's those are where the spirits are. In the Letterman's Lounge where the alumni go, it's in there. All the bars up top. You can even ask your server in your suites about my wine. They will totally hook you up. I got 2 reds and 2 whites, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, a Cab, and a red blend.
What got you into wine?
I like wine, man. I'm older now, I guess, but I've developed an acquired taste for wine. I'm still learning. But Albertsons is coming in the whole state of New Mexico. Stay tuned. I will let you guys know here pretty soon. There will be some advertising and marketing on this amazing station here pretty soon.
Of course, and always at Kenny Thomas NBA on the socials.
Yes.
Give it the follow.
Yes, always. And there's some basketball tournaments coming up this summer, starting in April. I'll be up in Hobbs, looking at going to Roswell in June. Memorial Day weekend, we have our I-25 tournament here in New Mexico, and looking at going up north, and got some other stuff coming too, man. Stay tuned.
Got it. Always staying busy, always working for the state of New Mexico. That's Kenny Thomas kicking it with KT. Always appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Everybody have a great day.
Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night, post-game, Lobos Live on News Radio KKOB. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Say my name, say my name.
While every other station calls it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burkia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnflow.gov/do-not-host.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You
expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
And that is the exact path that they are on. They beat Boise State tomorrow night, finish January 7-2, and you look at the opportunities ahead on the road to then start climbing that seeding ladder when it comes to your NCAA tournament resume. As they have games, at Nevada, at San Diego State, you get to host Colorado State, try to get that home and home split with the Rams. You go into March, you get a trip to Boise State, final game of the season in Logan, Utah, against Utah State. That could actually be for a Mountain West regular season title. And that's the last team you thought was going to play. The Lobos, yeah, we thought they would be in that conversation. But Utah State being there, being 6-1 right now, with the first-year coach, with the transfers that they had, it's great to see. You love to see it. Appreciate the time from Kenny Thomas. 505-246-0610, the Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. JJ Buck, DC, with you this morning. And yet Jalen House yesterday was named the Mountain West Player of the Week. JT Toppin, the Mountain West Freshman of the Week for the 7th time. It's just all coming together at the right time. And the start of conference play was the first extended run that this team has got to play together healthy. And they're starting to fall into their roles. And when you watch this team play, the energy, the character, it's really good. And it's one of those things, just enjoy the moment. Enjoy it. Because, the negativity is right around the corner. It's what we do. It's what happens. We just talked, with Martin Hanks last hour, Super Bowl champion. And really one of the most animated things. When he got the most animated, it was talking about losing to the Cowboys in those missed opportunities.
I mean, you work so hard for it. You get so far, and you can see it, and you feel like you have it, and then it slips through. There's nothing more painful in sport, I can imagine, for a guy like that especially. And, it's funny. I was watching some of his highlights. He'd be good. He'd be really good, actually, if he would play right now. Like, he had the speed. You could see he'd be good. It's funny how that works. There are certain positions that translate, eras and whatever you want to say, but you can tell the way he spoke, those losses really got to him.
Well, it's just like, I know DC, as you are getting baptized in Lobo basketball this season, you're hearing the stories, you're hearing about the missed opportunities. If you hear Laurent Rivard, you might be like, what is that?
See that? Yeah. So something very cool happened.
Hold it. I know there's a shoe just popped up in front of me.
Yeah.
I was like, hold up.
Well, you're talking about Lobo basketball and getting into it.
Yeah.
I mean, great way to do it is do a show with Kenny Thomas. So what I did is a couple weeks ago, I sourced some of his game-worn shoes. So in the break, he came in and I kind of surprised him.
That's a game-worn Kenny Thomas shoe.
That is a game-worn shoe, yeah. Yeah. So we had a little moment. It will be on social media, but it was funny. He walked in. He knew right where it was from. He knew what year, basically. He saw it. He knew everything. It was crazy. But you talk about getting kind of baptized into Lobo Nation. That is one good way to do it. And I sit here like
autographed Kenny Thomas game-worn shoe.
Yeah. That's a good way to jump in, right? But
That's
I
awesome.
tell you though, I feel the energy out here, and it's contagious. I did not go to UNM, but I am pulling for them. I've said it before. It makes the city so much better when you're on a run. But when you're in the middle of it like this, you're right. Enjoy it. These are the good parts of being a fan.
It's a reminder of, we'll put ourselves through that other stuff to hopefully get back to this moment. And the thing for the Lobos this year, it's all right there. They have checked every box they needed to this point. They didn't fall on their face in non-conference play. They came in, they won big-time games at home, giving themselves the opportunity for those road games that we'll talk about in February and March. And that's all you want, was that opportunity. And for me, I am someone that, I will get hyper-focused on the numbers. I'll get into the net rankings and Ken Palm, the Lobos versus other tournament teams. Because as Jerry Palm from CBS Sports told us, joins us every Thursday at 8:30. He said, your net ranking can be good. But one of the biggest factors when we're talking seeding lines, getting into the NCAA tournament, if you're not an automatic qualifier from winning your conference tournament, is what did you do against other tournament teams? And right now, if you look at San Diego State, it's a tournament team, that's a win for the Lobos. Utah State's trending towards the tournament team, that's the win for the Lobos. Nevada is 100% bubble team, but right there, first 4 in, first 4 out territory. But a tournament team, you'll get a chance to see them against Colorado State again, who's a tournament team, try to get a win there. So it's all right there. And there's so much to talk about it, and I appreciate Kenny Thomas coming in Tuesdays and Fridays. Appreciate y'all, because this is fun. When we come back on the other side, we're going to tell you about a giveaway that we have, because we're going to leave you with something today. We're leaving you with a big-time opportunity to get tickets to the hottest show in town in February, and wrap it up with you. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We'll leave you today with your opportunity to go see Bert Kreischer this Sunday night at Rio Rancho Event Center. So stay tuned a few more minutes with us, and we'll let you know how you can get a pair of tickets to see Bert Kreischer as he continues his Tops Off World Tour this Sunday at the Rio Rancho Event Center. A fantastic laugh for you. Pair of tickets, stay tuned. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck DC closing it out with you today. And what a morning it is, because we had Merton Hanks on, Super Bowl champion, talking about Brock Purdy, the 49ers playing Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes. And we have so many storylines to dissect from that game. And one of the storylines might be figuring out why are so many people angry about Taylor Swift. But it's a thing. It's the world we live in. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline, Sports Animal Text Line. Ben, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Great. Thank you for taking my call. I was just calling as in regards to Merton Hanks talking about always that being an athlete and wanting to make the pinnacle of your sport and being so close. And I can only imagine what the worst thing would be, missing a penalty kick in the World Cup for your country after 4 years.
That's a good one.
After 4 years, at least Detroit maybe has a chance next year. It's not like they have to wait 4 years. But, man, that's a whole burden on your country and the whole weight of a country, and then you miss the penalty kick in a knockout round.
That's a good one, Ben.
That is a really good one.
That's great, man. Appreciate the phone call. Get you thinking about your moments. And the World Cup definitely hits different.
I mean, when you're talking about that, you could probably also put up the Olympics then too, when you're talking about 4 years at a time. But he is right. If you miss that PK or whatever it happens to be, a corner kick.
Look at the narrative that was surrounding Messi for those years of being the GOAT, one of the greatest ever play the game of soccer, but he never could win the World Cup. Much like an NFL quarterback trying to win a Super Bowl, like that's going to be the defining thing. No matter what you do, how many other championships you win, how good you play, it's that one thing that will define you.
And when you do it for your country, you'll have schools teaching about it. You'll have people who don't watch your sport talking about it. That's a really good one, Ben. That was great. You need to call back more often.
Just thinking about those missing moments. Yeah, because I remember watching the last World Cup. We were traveling from somewhere. We were in an airport coming back from some game with women's basketball, and the airport paused for 20 or 30 minutes towards the end of that France-Argentina game. The entire airport of people that are not soccer fans, probably joked about soccer, but everyone just was stopped. It was locked into that moment in time.
That is very telling, because an airport represents potentially a countries, cities, states, all of these things. So for everyone at that time to have the same interest, that's very telling about how impactful the World Cup is, and really what it would mean to lose one.
But it just goes back to doing it on the biggest stage, performing in the biggest moments, and all the back and forth we're going to continue to have about Brock Purdy and about the San Francisco 49ers, this is his opportunity, to show that he's more than just a game manager. If you can game manage your way to the Super Bowl, no one's going to care at that parade. None of these 49er fans are going to care. And I look at this matchup, and I'm really excited to continue to dive deeper into it. And I know DC is going to open a new pass up for us in the red zone, and look forward to it, because missed opportunities. Yeah, the Ravens and Lions are thinking about that, but it's a big opportunity ahead in Super Bowl 58. Dan, you're on the opening drive. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. I know you're on the clock there, but real quick, hey, the men's basketball team's doing really well. And what we got to do here in New Mexico is make a ticket to the pit a status symbol. Have a good one.
We're getting back to that. When you have 15,000 people Sunday night, 8 p.m. And I was expecting it to be double digits, but I was like, 12, 13 Sunday night, 8 p.m. It's Steve Alford. It'd be good. You felt 15,000 people there. The student section has been impactful. The students are showing up to games. It's back to that moment.
Dan has an interesting point there. The status symbol of a college season ticket actually is a kind of big thing in other places. And to back up that point, I mean, I find myself, I have access to tickets here. We work at the station, but I've looked around to see, like, what would it cost for a good seat? What if I wanted the same seat every time? You keep playing like this, and he's right. When it becomes a point of pride that I've got that ticket, I'm in a good spot, and you're on the waiting list, then you're in the right direction.
Oh yeah, and it's the history of sport. You win, people are going to come, but this community responds differently, man. This is a basketball state, and you see it. The passion for the Lobos is real. The energy is real, and you're just sitting in that building, and you got to enjoy those moments too. And even just as when I'm there, at the Lobo men's games, and you just kind of sitting there covering it, taking my notes and stuff, you still you feel it, just sitting there, taking it in, being a part of that energy, and it's fun. And let's ride the wave as long as you can as a fan, because there's going to be those dips, there's going to be those times where it ain't great. And to really legitimately be here now, seeing the way the team plays offensively, defensively, seeing kind of the depth of the rotation that has evolved, the work they've done to this point, what's still in front of them, and looking like this is an at-large team, NCAA tournament. That's what you're waiting for, is that next opportunity to try to make a run. And it's a great unknown, because you never know what team is going to pop up on the other side. Like we talk about a number. Oh, could the Lobos be a 5th seed? Could they be a 6th seed? What happens if 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on down the line? But you just never know. All you can do is play the best basketball you can through March. And when that bracket comes out, just be ready to go. Because what was it, the Wichita State team that were undefeated, got a 1 seed, and their second round matchup just happened to be like a Kentucky team that was ridiculously talented but didn't have a great season, so they're like a 9th seed. And then just like that, it was over for Wichita State.
Is that like 2010, 2011, something like that? Yeah, I do remember that.
It was like Baker and Van Fleet, maybe.
Yeah.
On that Shocker squad. That's what you just never know. But all you got to do is get there. And they're on the path to getting there.
Yeah, once you punch that ticket, you're in the tournament. Anything could happen. That's kind of the beauty of the tournament.
That's why we love it, man.
Yeah.
But you don't want to mess with it too much. You don't want to overexpand it. Don't want to take away too many opportunities. You want to have your right balance. The good teams, power conference teams are going to be there, but you got to have your Cinderella stories. Got to have your mid-majors in there. It works.
I do like how they have the first 4 now. That's one thing, one change they've... How old is that? About 5 years now? Something like that?
Yes.
I love that. And I love giving one of those lower-seeded teams that one game of momentum, because they actually come in and disrupt things. I think that's great.
A big talking point for the first 4 is the 16 seeds. A lot of people say, 16 seed, you win your conference, you should be in. You should get that opportunity. I actually do like it for a 16 seed, because it gives you a chance to win a game on a national stage before you go play the number 1 overall seed.
A number 1 had not lost to a 16 prior to the first 4, correct?
Yes. I don't know if were they both first 4 teams?
I think they were.
So now we have 2.
Isn't that wild? That growing up, my dad said that would never happen. I was like, never say never, man. It's going to eventually, but here we are, and it's like a thing every year that you're not safe as a number one. I love it, actually. I wouldn't want to expand beyond what they're at right now, but those first 4 games are pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they got something special in the NCAA tournament. In the world of college athletics, that there is so much uncertainty. Name, image, and likeness, the transfer portal. There's a lot of moving parts where it can be hard to be a fan. The thing that's still clinging on, the thing that still works, it's March Madness. And hopefully we can have some madness around here. I want to thank Merton Hanks, Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, for joining us today. Of course, Kenny Thomas kicking it with KT every Tuesday and Friday, 9 to 9:30. Symbieta back tomorrow from El Paso once again. DC, appreciate you, my man. Adrian on ProView looks great as always. Jim Rome show coming up next. Colin Cowherd at 1, 2 men on. The boys with you at 4 o'clock. Everybody, Meta World Peace and Love. Have a great day.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No